Hello, good evening everyone. Welcome to this webinar. SSC CGL has recently announced a lot of vacancies. The notification has come about, and this webinar we would be discussing on the preparation tips and strategies for SSC CGL 2024. As you know, recently the vacancies came out. It was around 17,727, and it is expected that they are likely to increase in the time to come. So if you are aspiring for a government job, especially SSC job, I think this is a very good opportunity for all of you who are preparing for and who have already given exams, or you are a fresher. So in this session, we would be discussing a lot of things about SSC, how you can pace your preparation, what should be the right strategy. We'll be discussing about the paper pattern, what are the stages, what is the selection process, and which areas you need to focus upon section wise. So this is going to be a detailed discussion on all whatever you need to know about SSC. So let's start the session. So what are the highlights of this session? We would be discussing the important details of the notification. We will be looking at what are the important things that you need to keep in mind as far as this notification goes. We will also look at the opportunities and the vacancies that have been published by SSC CGL. We'll also look at the selection process and the exam pattern of SSC CGL. Also, we will also look at how the exam has happened in the previous years. We'll look at the topic-wise breakup of the exam, what sections, which areas are mostly asked, how many questions are asked. All that in detail would be covered in this session. And lastly but not least, preparation tips and strategies. What are the right things that you need to follow? What are the right guidelines that you need to adhere by so that you can do well in these exams? We'll also look at the test taking strategies, how you can maximize your score and get your dream job. So this is just a important date of various things that you need to keep in mind. Specifically, if you look at online applications already started from June 24th and it ends on July 24th. So if you are eligible and you have your dream of getting into a government job, please do apply as soon as possible. Please don't wait for the last date. Last date happens to be on 24th July. Last date for online fee payment is 25th of July. Generally, if you keep it for the last, sometimes it happens and the website gets hacked. There is a lot of rush because a lot of aspirants are applying. So don't wait for the last date. Make sure you apply as soon as possible within the window. Now, then if you happen to do something wrong in your application form, the correction window is also provided here. It starts from August 10th to 11th of August. So 2 days they have given for application form correction. As you know, SSC CGL exams happens in two tier 1 and tier 2. Both are online exam, and tier 1 online exam is tentative in September, October. The dates have not been finalized, but it will happen somewhere in September, October. Tier 2 exam would happen after tier 1. That would be happening in December of 2024. So you still have a lot of months to go for these exams, at least 3-4 months before your tier 1 exam happens, and almost 6 months for December tier 2 exam. If you look at the total various posts, there are a total of 34 positions that have been published by SSC. These includes very lucrative posts like Assistant Section Officer in CSS, Investigation Bureau, Railways, Ministry of External Affairs, and other ministries and departments. Also, assistants in ministries, departments, organizations, that post have also been created. Then you have inspector post in excise department, income tax, preventive officer, narcotics. All of these are very lucrative posts, very much sought after posts. So definitely it makes a lot of sense for you to do well in this exam and get your job. Then if you look at SI post, sub inspector post in CBI, narcotics, NIA, that is National Investigation Agency. Then junior intelligence officer in narcotics bureau, divisional accountant, junior statistical officer. Then you have also auditor post, accountant post, senior secretariat assistant, upper division clerks, tax assistant. So there are a lot of posts that you need to look at and see which post you can apply to, because preference of post also plays a very important role as far as SSC is concerned. Now, what are the eligibility criteria prescribed by the SSC? If you look at education qualification, then you would see For junior statistical officer, as on August 1. So August 1 is the cutoff date for fulfilling the education requirements. For junior statistical officer, you need to have a bachelor's degree in any subject with at least 60% marks in mathematics. So mathematics is very much required at 12 standard level, and a bachelor's degree in any subject with statistics as one of the subjects at degree level. So either you have 60% marks in mathematics at 12 standard, or statistics is one of the subject at a degree level. Because if this post is, you know, a kind of a technical post where you need to have some kind of maths knowledge, quants knowledge, and statistical knowledge, so definitely it is a requirement for this post. Generally, statistical officer and statistical investigator post, which is the next one, you would see there are not a lot of many applicants, so the competition is less in these posts. So definitely, if you fulfill the eligibility criteria, you can definitely go for these posts. Then, if you look at statistical investigator grade 2, you need to have a bachelor's degree in any subject with statistics as one of the subjects. Again, this post is basically for a statistics domain, so you need to have statistics as one of the subject. And the candidate must have studied statistics as a subject in all 3 years or of all 6 semesters of the graduation course. So statistics, you know, plays a very important role for this post. Then, if you look at the education requirement for research assistant in National Human Rights Commission, you need to have a bachelor's degree from a recognized university or institute. And see, it is not mandatory, but it is desirable to have 1 year research experience in any research in any recognized university, or degree in law or human rights from a recognized university. So these are desirable, not mandatory. But if you want to go for these posts, if you have this qualification, definitely you can apply. For all other posts, all you need is a bachelor's degree. It doesn't matter you come from a BCom background, BA background, BSc background, BBA background, BTech background, you can apply for this post. Only requirement is it should be from a recognized university. And students who are in their final year of graduation can also apply, but they have to ensure that they must possess essential qualification as on the cutoff date. Because see, cutoff date is 1st of August. So if you're in your final year, you have to ensure that your results are declared and you have been awarded a degree, or you have got the mark sheet on this cutoff date. Only then you can apply. Somebody who has done his graduation last year, definitely he or she is eligible. But somebody who is right now into their graduation and have written their exams, waiting for the result, and they assume that they can get their mark sheets on or before 1st of August, definitely they can apply. Now, if you look at the age criteria that needs to be fulfilled, so different posts have different age criteria. You need to check notification for as for your preference of post. Generally, it can range from 18 to 27 years. It can be 20 to 30 years, 18 to 30 years, 18 to 32 years, depending on the post. So you need to check the notification for age eligibility criteria, because it will be different from different posts. Okay, if we look at the recruitment patterns over the last few years, you would see that this year notification is definitely almost two or 2.5 times the last recruitment pattern. So we got almost 17,727 posts this year, which is a huge, almost 10,000 increase over the last year. So this is a very, very good opportunity. And like I mentioned, that it is most likely that these number of posts will increase going into the future. So there is no reason why you should not prepare for SSC. And CHSL posts are still to be announced, but you can expect them to also be in a good number, because we'll look at the other exams like bank exam. A lot of new posts are being created, and there are a lot of vacancies that are coming up. So we can expect CGL to have more declaration of posts going into the exam. All right, if we look at the examination scheme, what kind of examination scheme does SSC follow? So first and foremost, it is a computer tier 1 exam. Tier 1 is basically filtering of all the candidates. Example, so many candidates will write exams, in tens of lakhs student will write this exam. So they have a qualifying exam, which is a tier 1 exam. It is a written exam, which means it is a computer based online exam. And once you clear tier 1, you qualify tier 1, you go for tier 2. Tier 2 again is a written exam. It is also computer based, and it is only for people who have qualified the tier 1 exam. So tier 1 exam in SSC is similar to prelims exams in banking examinations. So you just have to qualify. Your marks cutoff is declared, and if your marks are above the cutoff, you qualify for the tier 2 round. One thing more about tier 1 exams. Last 2-3 years back, tier 1 marks were carried forward for the final merit list, but since last 3 years this pattern has changed. Now tier 1 is only a qualifying exam. The marks will not be carried forward, and the final merit list will be declared only based on the tier 2 exam. So tier 1 can be considered to be a qualifying exam, and once you qualify, you go for the tier 2 exam, which is also computer based exam. Then after writing these two exams, tier 2 exam, you give your preference of post. Now it is very important to know which post you want to apply for, which post you are eligible for, what marks you can go for these posts. Then final merit list, final result is declared. Then DV happens, which is a document verification, as to see whatever claims you have made with respect to your category or with respect to your education qualification, age, all that is done with. So that is also done pretty fast. And then a medical happens, which medical is generally a formality, and it doesn't hinder any chances of you to get into the final merit list. So these are the various stages of this exam, essentially tier 1 and tier 2. And if you clear tier 2, if you have good marks, then preference of post is asked, final result is declared, and then document verification and medical happens. Now, if we look at tier 1 exam, which is common to all the categories of posts, like we mentioned that for junior statistical officer or statistical investigator, grade 2 post, you need to have some essential other than qualifications as well, and you need to write another paper for that. But tier 1 exam is common to all categories of posts. So whatever post you're applying for, somebody who's applying for any post has to go through this tier 1 exam. Tier 1 exam, if you look at, it is a 1 hour or 60-minute exam for visually handicapped and aspirants. 80 minutes, 20-minute extra is provided. It generally has 4 sections to it: part A, part B, part C, and part D. Part A essentially is about general intelligence and reasoning. So basically logical reasoning and analytical reasoning is being asked. Out of 25 questions, each questions carry 2 marks, and the maximum marks for this section is 50 marks. Then there is a general awareness section. General awareness essentially includes general studies, that includes history, geography, polity, Indian economy, sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, all of those things, and also current affairs. And we'll look at in the upcoming slides that how the paper is divided into various sections. General awareness questions are also 25, and each question carries 2 marks, and the maximum marks for the exam is 50. If you look at quantitative aptitude is essentially maths questions. So your arithmetic, geometry, algebra, all of these questions are asked. 25 questions, again 50 marks. And then English comprehension. English comprehension is reading comprehension along with verbal ability, that includes your vocabulary, filling the blanks, synonym, antonyms, grammatical errors, all of these questions. So if you look at the paper pattern of tier 1 exam, it is a speed based exam and accuracy based exam. You have total 200 marks to score from, and you have around 100 questions, total of 100 questions in 60 minutes. There is no sectional timing, students, so you need to ensure that whichever section you maximize in, your total marks would be counted and not the sectional cutoffs. So it becomes very important for you to prepare in entirety, because if you look at generally the general awareness and English section happens to be the game changer here. Why am I saying so? Because in general awareness and English comprehension, specifically vocabulary based question or sentence correction, it doesn't take much time to answer the question. Maybe in quants, maths, or reasoning, you have to work out an answer, solve it, then get to an answer. But if you have prepared well for general awareness, easily these 25 questions of general awareness can be answered in around 10 to 12 minutes. Same applies to English. So if this is the paper pattern for tier 1, and it is entirely a speed based exam, because 60 minutes and you have to attempt around 100 questions, and total marks given is 200. Now if we spend some time on the tier 2 exam pattern, so tier 2 exam basically consists of paper 1 and paper 2 only for some specific posts like junior statistical officer or auditor post. All of these posts, paper 2 happens. So paper 1 generally happens for everyone, and paper 1 is divided into 2 parts, session 1 and session 2. So session 1 essentially has 3 sections to it. and it is a 2 hour 15 minutes exam. So 2 hour 15 minutes as compared to 1 hour is a long time. So you need to build your stamina of sitting for 2 hours 15 minutes for this exam. And section 1 you would see there is mathematical ability module 1, module 2 is reasoning. So section 1 would comprise of 60 questions divided into 30 each, mathematical, maths and reasoning. And here, unlike in tier 1, you would have seen that there is 2 marks for every question. Here every question carries 3 marks. So these 60 questions of section 1 essentially makes up for 180 marks, and the duration given is 60 minutes. So if you can understand this, the tier 1 we used to get 60 minutes for 100 questions. Here you are getting 60 minutes for 60 questions. So definitely the level of tier 2 exam would be a slight higher. You are going to have to work on problems which might take a little more time, but definitely it is scoreable. If you look at section 2 includes English language and comprehension and general awareness. English language and comprehension gets the lion's share, around 45 questions from English language and comprehension, and general awareness section again has 25 questions, and these total makes up for section 2 as 70 questions. Again, each question is of 3 marks. The total marks to be awarded in this section is 210, and for this 70 question you get 60 minutes. So you have a lot of time here, because general awareness 25 question won't take much time. English might take some time, but generally if you look at 70 questions and 3 marks for each question, 210. So your merit will be declared out of these 370 marks. Section 3 is computer knowledge, which is essentially a qualifying in nature. Qualifying means it is not considered for the final merit list. So 20 questions, 3 marks per question, total of 60 marks to be had in this section, and you are given 15 minutes. So essentially out of 2 hours 15 minutes, 2 hours is spent on maths, reasoning, English and general awareness, and 15 minutes for computer knowledge. And like I said, your merit will be declared out of 370 marks, which is comprised of 4 sections. Then in section 2 you will have 15 minutes for a data entry speed test. You will be given one task. You will have to make some impression on the keyboard. 15 minutes would be given, and generally it is not very difficult, because as you know, all of us are very much adept to using computers and laptops and desktop, so that is not much of a difficult thing, but still you will have to practice some bit of it so as to be ensuring that you do well here. So this is the more or less the pattern of tier 2 exam, wherein if I may take your attention to tier 2, 3 years back the paper pattern was such that tier 2 used to have only maths and English, 100 questions of maths and 100 questions of English. Now that has changed. Now what has changed is that reasoning and general awareness also find its place in the tier 2, and the weightage of maths and English has decreased considerably, which means initially when students used to prepare for SSC, they used to think that reasoning and general awareness we need only for tier 1, so we don't need to prepare much. In easy reasoning and general awareness we can get over it. But now tier 2 also has reasoning and general awareness section, which makes them very, very, very important, because your merit would be declared out of these 370 marks. Tier 1 is only qualifying, like I mentioned already. So here you have to ensure that your preparation for tier 2 starts along with tier 1, which means difficulty level of reasoning and maths should be taken up once you have done with your basics. Ensure that you are working also on the reasoning and maths questions, which are little difficult. So this change has come about, and this has made the paper more open to students who are also preparing for bank exams. So in bank exam, you have 3 sections in prelims and 4 sections in mains. Same if you'll see, you'll have 4 sections in tier 2 exam. If we talk of paper 2, which is essentially for statistics, 100 questions, each questions carry 2 marks, and the duration is 120 minutes. This is only specific for people who are preparing for posts which require statistics as one of the major requirements, like junior statistical officer or statistical investigator grade 2. So for this you have to write paper 2, else everybody else would write only paper 1. Now these are some of the important points which you need to keep in mind. First and foremost, that tier 1 of the CGL will be common for all categories of work. Whatever post you are applying to, tier 1 will be common. So everybody would have to go through a tier 1 exam. So this is a given. And paper 2, of tier 2 with only for the post of junior statistical officer. This I already mentioned that for junior statistical officer you need to write paper 2, else tier 2 is sufficient. This also has the third point is also needs some mention, because 3 years back it used to happen that merit list was prepared based on tier 2 score as well as the carried forward marks from the tier 1. But now that tier 1 has become only qualifying, so merit list will be prepared only based on the tier 2 exam. So tier 2 becomes very, very critical for your success and getting a good merit. Yeah, this is also a very important point regarding the negative marking. You cannot make guesses, wild guesses, you cannot go along with marking anything and everything. You have to see that there is negative marking. And in tier 1, 2 marks is awarded for every question, and 1/4 of the marks assigned is the negative. So essentially we are saying, if you make it correct, you get 2 marks. If it is wrong, negative of 0.5 happens. 1/4 of the marks assigned to the question, which means if 2 marks are assigned to the question, your negative will be 0.5. Then if we look at tier 2, what happens in tier 2? In tier 2, 1/3 of the marks assigned to the question is deducted as negative mark. So like we mentioned in the previous slides, that in tier 2, you get 3 marks for every question. So if you do it wrong, you get -1. So just imagine it is a multiple choice exam, but your all good work can go to waste if you do random answering. You have to ensure that accuracy is maintained, because -1 is a big number. So if you happen to do 10 questions wrong, you will get -10 marks out of your total marks score. So you have to ensure that 1/3 marks assigned to these question means +3 and -1. And in tier 2, paper 2, you get again 1/4. Like we mentioned that in junior statistics officer post, you have to write paper 2, and each question is of 2 marks. Here the negative will be 1/4 of the marks, which means -0.5. Now moving ahead, what should be the preparation tips and strategy? See, any exam that you are preparing, you need to have good strategy. See, everybody studies, everybody have their basic covered, fundamentals covered, speed build, but ultimately it comes down to who do well on the given day. So there is a lot of strategy that goes into the exam. Now first and foremost, you need to understand what is being asked in English comprehension over the years, because if you do a split wise topic wise split of English questions, what are the questions that are being asked, you would see synonym antonyms have definitely come in, right? So it mentions that in 21 there were 2 questions, 22 0 to 4, different shift, different different pattern 0 to 4, 23 0 to 5. So essentially you can see the synonym antonym part would definitely cover, and this is only a part of your vocabulary. So if you happen to do your vocabulary well, you would be able to answer these questions. Idiom phrases also you can expect 1 to 3 questions every year we are seeing. Then there is one word substitution questions, that also you need to practice. You can expect at least 1 or 2 questions. Spelling questions. Now spelling questions also come in SSC, which are generally very easy. You can answer them pretty fast. All of these, when I said English can be done very pretty fast in tier 1, my whole idea was toward these kind of questions. If you look at these questions, you can answer them pretty fast. You don't need to solve anything. You know the answer, vocabulary based, idiom based, one word substitution, spelling, and filling the blanks. Again, filling the blanks, we would also see that there are at least 1 or 2 questions that can be asked. So these are the broad areas for English section. And continuation, we see error identification. These are grammatical errors. You need to know your parts of speech. You need to know your subject verb agreement, noun, articles, pronouns, verb, tenses. All of these questions are very important. So if you happen to follow a standard book and get good mentorship with English, you should do well in error identification. Then there are questions on best replacement, which can best replace this question. Then there are para-forming questions. Sentence reordering question have appeared in last 2 years. Then closed passage 5 questions. This is a big number. Closed passage is essentially a passage has been given with some filling the blanks. So you have to understand the passage in terms of what is being asked, and you have to fill the right word. That is the closed passage. So 5 questions are being asked. Then active, passive, and direct, indirect. The same old active, passive voice and direct, indirect speech. These questions also, get at least 2 questions from each of these 2 areas. So this is a kind of a breakup which you see in English language. So if you look at English language, you would see that there are no lengthy questions like reading comprehension questions. These are all verbal ability questions which can be answered pretty fast. That is why the reason is that 60 minutes are only given for 100 questions, because these questions can be answered pretty fast if you happen to do your English section well. If you prepare your English section well, focus on vocabulary, grammar, and these areas, specifically sentence reordering, paraforming question, active, passive, direct, indirect speech, you should do well. So if we can summarize English comprehension section for tier 1, see, important topics, vocabulary, very important, and vocabulary is never built in a day. You need to practice it, you need to learn new words every day, you need to add them to your kitty, you need to use them oftenly. You need to, if you happen to come across a word which you find interesting, note it down, understand what it means, how it is used in a sentence, what are its synonyms, antonym. So very important from vocabulary point of view is synonym, antonym, one word substitution, spelling, and close passage. If you look at these questions, at least will comprise around 7 to 8, 10 questions. So these vocabulary become very important. And also vocabulary become from this perspective that they are fast to answer. Either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. If you know the answer, you can answer them pretty fast. So vocabulary is one section that you need to prepare really well, because it is one of the most important topics as far as English comprehension is concerned. Grammar again plays a very important role. Like I said, error identification, find the error in the which part of the sentence gets error, or what can be the best replacement, or filling the blanks. These are also very important. Filling the blanks would be main, filling up prepositions, conjunctions, all of those things. Don't neglect para-jumble sentences, active, passive, and direct, indirect, because they can also be asked. So these are also areas which you need to practice. You should not leave anything. You should understand that whatever has been mentioned based on research, and as to see what has been the paper patterns for over the last 2-3 years. So even if 2 questions come of active, passive, direct, indirect, you should not let them go. You should ensure that you prepare them well, understand what are the rules of active, passive, and direct, indirect, and help yourself to do well. Reading comprehension, see, like I said, it has not been asked in the last 3 years. Even if it will be asked, it will be very small passages, easy to score. These are generally fact-based passages, very similar to which you used to get in small classes. So, but it has not been asked the last 3 years, which ensures that you have ample time to answer English. And like I said, general awareness and English section in tier 1 constitute 50 questions, and those 50 questions can definitely be answered in around 20-22 minutes. So 50 questions you can definitely answer in 20, because 10 minutes maximum you would need for general awareness, and 10 to 12, 13 minutes you would need for English. If reading comprehension comes, then paper become a little lengthy, but generally it has not been asked in the last 3 years. So you can assume that will not be asked. But again, you need to prepare a bit of it, because you would need it for tier 2. So don't neglect it. So time allotment, like I said, 15 minutes. You can allot 15 minutes. Start with vocab-based questions, synonym, antonym, one word substitution. Then do the grammar one. Whatever you're confident in. This is just a tentative idea of how you should attempt. Vocab-based questions generally are easy to attempt. Grammar, if you know your grammar, best replacement, active, passive, you can attempt that afterwards. Then you can attempt the filling the blanks after grammar. And see, paraforming jumbled question. If they are attempted, they should be attempted at last. You know why it should be attempted at last? Because what happens is that these require you to read a bit. So reading would take some time. So make sure you don't miss out on easy questions like vocabulary or grammar. But the paraforming definitely should be attempted, but should be kept for last. You can attempt when you are done with all the other things after your vocabulary, grammar, and filling the blanks question. Okay, how can you prepare for English comprehension? If you look at grammar, the booklet provided by T.I.M.E is very comprehensive, and specifically in every classroom course we have a lot of handouts, and those handouts actually are replica questions of the last few years. So if you can get hold of T.I.M.E material, and if you enroll for classroom coaching, you would see the classroom handouts are of extraordinary quality. So grammar you can refer to that. Vocabulary, we provide booklet for vocabulary from time, and also classroom handouts. Again, classroom handouts would have a lot of synonym, antonym, filling the blanks, all of these questions, closed passage. That will help you because those are again modeled on the previous year questions. So any material that is modeled on the previous year question paper and it replicates that paper, that is the benchmark of a good material. Yeah, previous year SSC CGL exam papers, definitely PYQs, previous year papers are definitely you should make a reference of them. From that you can study. If you're looking for a book, you can look at Rajendra Pal and Premalata Suri. Also, there is a book called SP Bakshi in the North, which is a very good book. You can refer to that. Brennan Martin, obviously, yes. Student Companion by Wilfred Best. Again, that is a very good book. So these are the kind of books that you can refer as your material for preparing for English comprehension. Now, what happens is that once we do with English, we look at the topic-wise split of maths, which is quantitative aptitude. Now, quantitative aptitude, you would see it is dominated by arithmetic. So simple equation, ratio, proportion, variation, all of these topics. If you look at simple equations, 2021, there was hardly one question. 2020, there were no questions. And 2023, there were 0 to 2 questions, depending on the shift. Ratio proportion, you can expect at least one question. In my view, at least one question in all the 3 years have been asked. Percentages, again, you can expect 0 to 2, which means at least one question you can expect from percentages also, depending on the shift that you get. Profit and loss partnership definitely will be asked. At least 1 or 2 questions will be asked, and 1, 2, 3, depending on the shift. Algebraic expression, again, one of the important topics. Numbers, which includes LCM, HCF, rational numbers, last unit digit, all of these questions. Indices and surds, exponents and power. You can have a question from them also. Simple interest, compound interest, this is also one of the areas that you can be asked questions from. And you will see at least profit and loss, algebra, and numbers. Definitely you can expect 2 questions out of these topics. Geometry is very important here. Plain geometry plays a crucial role. You can expect at least 2 to 3 questions. So 2 to 3 questions out of 25 is quite a good number. Along with mensuration, so geometry and mensuration goes along with it. At least you can expect 2 questions from each of geometry and mensuration. Now, time and work definitely have appeared in 2023. At least 2 to 4 questions have appeared from time and work. So time and work becomes important topic, similar as time, speed, and distance. You can expect 2 to 3 questions. So if you talk of arithmetic, profit and loss, time and work, time and speed, all of these topics become important. Numbers, definitely yes. Averages, mixture, allocation, can expect 0 to 1 question. Generally, average questions are easy. Then data interpretation. So data interpretation, last year we had few questions. The year before that we have 4 each in 2021 and 2022. Data interpretation is nothing but primarily you have been given some data in the form of graphs, and you have to understand the graph, understand the values, analyze it, and ask question based on that. Bar graph, pie chart, it can be from line graph, data tables, mixed graph. Again, trigonometry, you can expect 2 to 4 questions, and it has happened in all the 3 years. So trigonometry also becomes, along with geometry, becomes an important topic, right? So if we can summarize quantitative aptitude for you, what are the important topics? Very important topics, like I mentioned. Profit loss partnership, you should take a screenshot once this slide is done. Profit loss partnership, geometry, mensuration, numbers, algebraic expression, and trigonometry. Now I would also include here time and distance, and so they have covered in important topics. So data interpretation. So if you look at very important topics, which means from these 5-6 topics you can expect 2 to 3 questions. So almost 15 questions from these topics. Then important topics other than the very important topics would be equation, ratio, variation, then simple and compound interest, time and work, time and distance, averages. These are also arithmetic based topics. Again, these are important. Now, this is very important. The student generally, ask for any shortcuts in terms of that we can leave this topic. Student, don't make this habit of leaving any topic. Don't neglect any topic. Selective preparation should definitely be avoided, because at times topic which you have prepared well might present you with a difficult question, but at times you have profit which you not confident, it might present you with an easy question. So at least basics should be covered. Yes, you should know your strengths and weaknesses, which topics are strong and which topics are weak, but you should not go into selective preparation mode. You should prepare everything, and all of these topics should be done equally well. Yes, you would have your strength areas in some, but still you should know how to answer basic question in all areas. Now, like we did in English, what is the time should be allotted for 25 questions? So given 20 minutes. Now 20 minutes, if you allot for 25 questions in quants, you can follow any of the strategies that have been mentioned. Now see, it depends on how strong or weak your maths is. So we have a strategy A which says divide 20 minutes into 4 chunks of time, which means out of 20 minutes you have divided 4 parts, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Each part is of 5 minutes. And then divide 25 questions into 6 parts. So basically 6 questions you are doing in 5 minutes. So 5 minutes you have to attempt this 6 questions. The strategy is not to answer all, but not to lose on easy ones. So at times, it happens that we get stuck in a question. When we get stuck in a question, we take it on our ego that I have to solve it, and we end up wasting 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. See, that is not required. Each question carries same marks. So what is important is to identify the easy questions. See, if you identify easy question, what you will end up doing is you will not miss out on easy. Sometimes it may happen that you might not have even seen all the questions. So that is a cardinal sin here, because it might happen the easier questions are later on. So by dividing it into 4 chunks of 6 questions, if you are given 5 minutes for this 6 questions, if you are done, move to the next. If you are not done, at least out of these 6 questions you are finding out which question to do. Suppose you happen to only 5, then move to the next, so that you had ensured that one question which you missed out of 6 was not an easy question. So you might find another easy question in the next chunk of 6 questions. So that will really help you, because like this you would be able to see all the questions, and choice of question becomes important, which questions to do and which questions to leave. Now this will present you with an opportunity to maximize your score. You would be able to see all the questions, you would be able to understand which questions to answer, you would end up answering more questions. Strategy would be divide not the time but the question into 3 types. Now what would be 3 types? One is easy, substitution based question, direct formula question, back substitution, shortcut questions which you can identify, which will not take more than 30 seconds to 45 seconds. These questions should be done in the first round. And how would you identify these questions? These questions would be identified only if you have prepared well, only if you have given your mocks, only if you have kept time into factor and understood that this I know and this I don't know, or this has a shortcut. So in SSC, because it is a speed-based exam, there's a lot of emphasis on shortcuts and direct formula substitution of what you can definitely put in and get your answer. Right. Type 2 would be questions that would take more than 1 minute. You have identified, okay, this is a question that would require me to make an equation, and equation will take some time to solve it. But you are confident this is my area, profit and loss. If there is some question of profit and loss, I can definitely solve it. It will take time, but I will definitely pick it up and solve it. But it might take time. So you can put it for the second round. Third type questions would be which you understand this is not my area. These are difficult. I don't know the concept. I have to maybe try and solve it. You're not confident, to keep it for the third round, and if it happens that you don't end up doing it, that's fine. It's better if you not attempt it, so that you don't end up wasting time. See, I again repeat, each question is of same marks. You have to understand the low hanging fruits theory. Whatever you're getting hanging low on the tree, you get that. You don't worry about, because every question is of same marks. So why attempt difficult questions? Attempt the easier question. So either you can, like we discussed in strategy, either you can divide the time into 4 parts, 5 minutes for 6 questions each, or you can divide question based on the question. You can take or do a question or leave a question. So these both strategies can be followed depending on how you fare in maths. Now if we spend some time on the topic wise split of reasoning ability. Now reasoning ability, again, if you look at tier 1, series are generally questions that are definitely asked. You can expect at least 2 questions. Like in 2021, we can see 3 to 4 questions were asked. So series is one topic which is very important. Analogies can be asked 1 to 2 questions. Similar set questions were asked in last 2 years. Letter sequence was asked last year, 1 to 2 questions. Odd one out, again 1 question. Coding, decoding, 1 to 3 questions. So you can expect 1, 2, or 3 questions. Blood relations, who is the mother, father, cousin, spouse, all of those questions. Clocks and calendar, 1 question. Missing number in figures, counting triangles, Venn diagram, which is basically reasoning, which is visual reasoning. So you have to find those questions, and you will see at least 1 to 2 questions are asked. Analytical puzzle, you could see, was asked only in 21. It was not asked in 22 and 23 because analytical puzzle takes a lot of time. Now something that takes a lot of time, how would you end up doing in 20, in 60 minutes in tier 1? So analytical puzzles were not asked in last 2 years. Non-verbal reasoning, series analogies, odd man out, again 2 questions were asked last year and last year. Then figure cutting, embedded figures, paper cutting, images, paper folding, again 1 to 3 question. Direction sense was not asked for last 2 years, but in 2021 it definitely. So you cannot avoid these topics. These are okay. Direction sense you would consider not an important topic, but still it needs to be prepared. Because even if 1 question comes, direction sense is a very easy topic. You can definitely answer. Symbol and notation, again, you can expect 2 questions. If you can see in 2022 we had 3 questions. But in 2023 we had 1 to 3, which means essentially we can take an average of 2 questions we can expect. Then dictionary order, logical order, sequence, ranking, word digit formation, again 1 to 2 questions. Deduction, which is essentially syllogism, right? Those questions which are of easier type, you can expect at least 1 to 2 questions. So these are the primarily broad areas where your reasoning section would come from. So all these topics you need to prepare well. Yes, you can keep a track of which topics are important, which topics are not important, and prepare accordingly, but all of these topics should be prepared well. So what is the summary? How can we summarize reasoning section? What are the most important topics? Series, analogies, odd man out, coding, decoding, direction sense, symbol notation, and similar. These are very important topics. And then important topics would be Venn diagram, ranking, missing number in figures, deductions, your embedded figures, paper cut. These are important topics depending on the number of questions that have been asked. Now, what should be the time allotment strategy for reasoning section? Start with questions which are easier to attempt. 15 minutes, give 15 minutes is sufficient. So we gave 15 minutes for English, we gave 20 minutes for quants, we gave 15 minutes for reasoning. Start with questions on series, analogies, coding, decoding, and odd man out. Then word formation, dictionary order, board mass, all of these questions can be attempted. Then you can attempt questions on Venn diagram and cubes. Sequence, hidden formula, missing number, counting. See, these questions are definitely tricky, especially counting triangles and missing numbers. So all of these are tricky questions. Deduction and critical reasoning should not be neglected. However, you can expect 1 or 2 questions at max from both of these, but still it should not be. But it should be attempted at last, because if you're not confident in critical reasoning, it will take some time also to read. But generally, it is not seen in the prelims, but in the tier 1. But still, we need to prepare well. What are the references and preparation for? You can revise from T.I.M.E mock test, booklets or handouts. Current publication is also very good for practice set. Then obviously previous year SSC CGL exam paper, which is previous year papers. You need to look at the kind of question, the difficulty level, what areas have been asked. We have given a tentative idea about which areas, how many questions are asked. But still, if you happen to do them, solve them, you would get acquainted with what is the difficulty level, how much should I prepare. So that you can do through previous year question papers. Now, if we look at the topic-wise split of general awareness, tier 1. Topic-wise split means general awareness. Generally, it can be from anywhere. But if we can, get down to what are the important aspects. Banking, last few years 0 to 2 questions have been asked. Biology, physics, chemistry, 1 to 7, 1 to 6, 1 to 7, which means around 2 to 3 questions from each of biology, physics, and chemistry can be expected. Indian polity, civics, constitution, again 1 to 7 questions, which means 2 to 3 questions you can expect. Computers, basic knowledge of computers can be asked. Current affairs is one which is seen a lot. So 2 to 7 questions you can expect from current affairs. Indian economy, geography, and history. Now these are some of the important topics from which general awareness section is comprised. So you can expect 3 to 4 questions from each of these topics. Environment has definitely seen a change. There have been a lot of questions on environment in the previous year, so not featuring it before SSC exams. Then questions on sports, who won whatever World Cups or anything sports related questions, science and tech, literature, medicine, awards. Anybody has been awarded some award have been given, international organization, human science. All of these questions can be around 3 to 6 questions. These are the broad area. Now, summary, if you look at very important topics are physics and chemistry. Biology questions are generally not asked, but physics and chemistry becomes very, very important topics. Basic physics and chemistry, right? Whatever you have studied in NCERT. History and geography, generally 2 to 8 questions you can be asked. So history and geography again important. Indian economy 2 to 8 questions. So this is very important. These are the crucial areas of general awareness which you need to work on. History and geography, generally history questions, geography can be physical geography and all of those. History can be, generally modern history questions are from modern history, Indian freedom struggle and all that. Indian economy 2 to 8 question, they can ask you about various organizations, Indian economy and all of questions on all of that. Polity and constitution, again 1 to 7 questions can be asked. Important topics are banking, awards, literature, international trade, science and tech, sports, constitution. These are important topics. Like I mentioned, you should keep idea about what are the most important topics, where your focus area should be, but should not neglect important topics as well. And now, if you look at the time allotment strategy, we are only left with 10 minutes because rest we have already spent on English. We spent 15 minutes tentatively, 20 minutes on quants, 15 minutes on reasoning. So left with 10 minutes, and 10 minutes is sufficient to answer GA, because GA, you would know the answer. There's nothing to solve, nothing to work upon. So if you look at 10 minutes, like 600 seconds, 600 seconds divided by 25 questions is 24 seconds. So you need to take 5 seconds to read a question at max, understand the option, answer it and move it. So any question will not take more than 10-12 seconds, but 10 minutes still we have given. Please read the entire question and understand what are the choices before marking the answer. You should, understand what is the question asking you, and please go through all the choices. Sometimes the choices are tricky, they are close by, so you should not make a blunder, by not looking at the choice and going by. Understand what is the question is asking, and then answer accordingly. First, suppose there are some single liner questions. Definitely they are easier to read, easier to understand, easier to answer. So please attempt those questions. Lengthier but doable question can be answered in the second round. Like we were distributing time for quantitative aptitude, where we said easier question should be attempted first, lengthier question but doable question can be attempted in the second round. Similarly here also, what you can do is you can attempt one liner question in the first round, and then lengthier or doable questions in the second round. Please avoid guesswork. Don't go by any random answering, because that will give you a negative mark. So guesswork should not be done. If you are very strong hunch on something, maybe 1 or 2 50% guesses you can take, but generally this should be avoided. Now, how to prepare for general awareness? Because general awareness is so vast, so we need to understand what we need to keep in mind to prepare for general awareness. Now, if you look at Indian economy, this is an important topic. What you need to prepare is basic terms and concepts. Terms like what is repo rate, reverse repo rate, monetary policy, inflation, basic terms and concepts. Sectors of the Indian economy, what are the sectors? Manufacturing, agriculture, manufacturing, how much they are contributing, services. Economy at the eve of independence, when we were independent, when we became independent, what was the state of the economy, what was the policy followed, economic reforms post 1991, LPG reforms, liberalization, privatization, globalization. So you have an idea about, because question can be asked from historical background as well. Rural development, infrastructure, all of these things can be asked. Taxation, FDI, foreign direct investment, FII, foreign institutional investment, what are these, how it happens. Then questions on public finance, balance of payment, external internal debt, which is the largest trade partner of India, who is the larger exporter from, so who is the largest export partner of India. Capital markets, forex, foreign exchange, you should know. Capital markets, you should know. Security markets. Banking basics, you should understand what are the basics of banking. Inflation, subsidies, poverty, concepts in microeconomics, some concepts in microeconomics like demand, supply, all of those things you should know. If we talk of Indian history and culture, the questions are mostly from important personalities and events which have happened in the past, which are of historical significance. Generally you would see a lot of questions being asked, and especially people who have been important personalities in history. So questions can be asked on those. Now it can be from medieval history, from Mughal emperor to even going back to slave dynasty and to anything. So you have to be ensure that you read your history well. Questions on culture regarding art, painting, dance forms, temples, mosque architecture can be asked. Ancient history would be Indus Valley Civilization, Mauryan Age, etc. Then medieval history would be sultans, reforms, autobiographies, policies, birth of Islam, Delhi Sultanate, Sufi movement that happened, Bhakti movement. All of these medieval history part which you need to know well. Mughal Empire, Marathas, role of Marathas, Vijayanagara Kingdom. All of these things are very important from medieval history point of view. A lot of questions can be asked. Now modern history is the uprise of the Europeans, British conquest, important governor generals in India, revolts and movement, especially freedom struggle, Indian freedom struggle and revolts and movement, what it led to, Khilafat movement, non-cooperation movement, Dandi March, all of those things, significant, important things that have happened in the history should be a part of modern history. Socio-religious reform movement that happened, national movement and freedom struggle, freedom and partition, last British viceroy in India, two nation theory, all of that thing what happened during partition, all of these are very important from modern history point of view. Yeah, so geography, you would see basically there are a lot of questions on physical geography. So earth and its origin, interior and structure, plate tectonics, earthquakes related could be asked, eclipses, rocks, landform, different landforms can be asked. So all of these things which you have studied in your NCERT class notebook, class textbooks from class 6 to 10, climate, composition, structure and types, clouds, distribution of oceans, earthquakes, cyclones, rainfall, weather disturbance, all of these things are part of physical geography, wherein we talk about various things that are happening in and around the environment. Indian geography, then Indian geography is very important because it covers the Himalayas, the Indo-Ganga-Brahmaputra plain, peninsular block, Aravalli range, soil patterns in India, climatic reasons. These are just a brief idea about different parts that you need to read in Indian geography. Water resources, mineral distribution, particular mineral happens to be in which state, industries, types, location, national highways like Atal Setu, important rail routes, ports, all of these are part of Indian geography. Then what is polity? Polity is essentially your civics. You need to know your central and state government, president, PM, governor, CM, parliament, council of ministers, Supreme Court. All of these are constitutional bodies, constitutional posts. You should be aware of that. Local government, from Panchayati Raj to urban local government, municipality, all of those things can be asked. Constitutional and non-constitutional bodies like Election Commission, UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, CAG, NDC, etc. Historical backgrounds of constitutional framework, important acts, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, all of those things. Important articles also you need to know about constitution and everything. Preamble to constitution is very important. How many types of justice are there? All of those things. You don't have to get in detail. See, it is very important to understand. You don't have to get in detail. A cursory reading and understanding the thing can help you. So you need to know a bit about it. System of government, parliamentary, federal, inter-state relation, interstate relations, miscellaneous topics like public service, anti-defection law, provision for minorities, lot of talk about uniform civil code, CAA, all of those things which are part of general government rule. Yeah, so for what can you, which books can you refer? What are the suggested references for these books, for these topics? For history, you can refer to Tamil Nadu State Education books from class 11 and 12. E-books are available. Definitely that will help you, that have a comprehensive coverage of this history part which is covered in SSC. So you can definitely rely on class 11 and 12 book of Tamil Nadu State Education Board. Then for culture, you can look at National Institute of Open School online material that is quite good for NIOS. For culture. Geography, again, NCERT books are considered to be very standard books, class 7 to class 12 on selected topics. You can pick up those books with topics which we have mentioned that will help you. So all of these things can be considered for geography, especially the NCERT books. Polity, again, NCERT class 11 book, Constitution at Work. This is a very important book because it covers almost everything that you need to know about Constitution and polity, Indian polity, how it works, what are the fundamental rights, what are the different articles covered under which act, fundamental duties, all of those things. For economy, definitely read newspapers, especially if you can read the pink newspaper, which happens to be business, economic times kind of a newspaper. The Hindu newspaper is quite good. There is a section devoted in every English newspaper with respect to business and economy section. Budget, if it has come about, there was an interim budget this year. Now the budget would be declared, to go through the budget. NCERT books to understand the basic terms and terminologies, to understand basic how microeconomics works, and basics of banking and all of those things that can be covered. Okay, other than these books, what can be referred? Competition Wizard, Kiran Prakashan previous year books, and Lucent GA. So Lucent GA might seem a lot of effort to be done, but if you keep reading it, you would get a lot of idea about how things are being asked. And also you should understand that previous year question papers would also help. Will give you a sense of what kind of question, how are they being framed, what is being asked, what is the important part, because there's a lot to read, so you have to understand there should not be information overload, rather you should do reading which can help you to maximize your marks. If you look at physics, how to prepare for physics, happens to be an important topic as far as SSC CGL general awareness section is concerned. So basic concept and laws you should know, principle, and specifically emphasis on the application of those principles. Home appliances, what are the principles involved in different home appliances, various physical quantities, units like joule, all of those things, this is measured in this unit. Interrelation of physics with chemistry, biology, medicine, etc., and branches in scientists, associative physics. So there are a lot of physicists who have over the years got a lot of Nobel prizes. So various branches, astrophysics is one of the branches, different type space. So question can be asked based on that. Reference books which you can refer for physics can be state board books from classes from class 6 to 10, or NCERT books from classes from 6 to 10. So basic concept of physics you should know, basic questions of physics you should know. If you have been a decent student in your class 6 to 10, understood your physics well, you just have to revise those concepts, understand what are the different physical quantities, what are its units, then you can do it. If you look at chemistry, how to prepare for chemistry, specifically chemical composition of various substances that we use in our daily life, like baking soda, salt, common salt, all of those things, gypsum, plaster of Paris, basic composition of various substances that we are using in everyday life. Chemical names and common names of various substances, definitely this also you have studied in class 6 to 10. Atmospheric phenomena and their relevance to pollution, because pollution being an important issue nowadays, so definitely you should be aware of that. Important elements and their role in biology, industry, and biotechnology, types of drugs and their application, vitamins and their chemical names, acid and alkaloids present in natural substances, and again, like in physics, branch and scientist associated with chemistry, because that will present you a very straightforward question if you have done it well. Again, reference books can be classes books from 6 to 10, class state board books, or you can refer to NCERT books from class 6 to 10. See, biology is not as much, but still it is better to study botany and zoology together. Nutrition in plants followed by nutrition in animal, respiration, genetics, all of these are important topics. Emphasis on genetic diseases, system of human body and corresponding diseases, what deficiency causes what disease, useful plants and animal and their scientific name, recent aspects of tissue culture, biotechnology, cloning. See, these are new things that are coming up. So you should understand what is biotechnology, what is cloning, questions relating to tissue culture. Again, same like in physics, chemistry, other parts of science we follow. State board books are sufficient, and also NCERT books classes from 6 to 10. See, this is for tier 1. This is a summary of what we have discussed, that quantitative aptitude you can give 20 minutes, general intelligence and reasoning 15 minutes, English comprehension 15 minutes, and general awareness 10 minutes. This should be sufficient. Now what you can do is, depending on your area strength, so if you are confident that you can spare out some time from English section and give it to quants, or give it to some time more in reasoning, that is your choice, that you can do. But this is generally a tentative idea, because quantitative aptitude, most of the question you will need to solve, so that will require some time. And English comprehension, general awareness, like I mentioned, definitely 25 minutes are luxury that you can definitely attempt in 25 minutes. So this is a tentative breakdown of the time how you should allot it for your tier 1 exam. What does time offer for SSC CGL coaching? See, we have a classroom course. You can refer to any classroom course nearby. You can approach your nearest time center. Generally, our classroom course is very much defined in terms of what we are offering. So number of classes will be 140 classes. That is a 280 hours module. So every class is of 2 hours. And we give 11 booklets, study material booklet, which are hard copy. Then validity of student homepage is 12 months. So 1 year validity student homepage means that you will be provided with mock tests, sectional tests, online support for 12 months. And important thing is you will be given a lot of online sectional tests, topic wise, and topic wise sectional test also, and group of topics. You can club some topics and give you sectional tests. So around 220 online sectional tests are provided. 50 online full length mocks are provided of tier 1. So all of these are very, very important to understand that any course that you join should have updated material, should have standard material, and should give you a sense of going in the right path. So online mock test, when we are giving 50, we want you to prepare so well and write every mock in such a way, and the analysis of those mock, and the rankings, the percentile, everything is provided. If you look at the SSC CGL plus CGL combo online flexi recorded course, you can also go for online course, which is actually a recorded course. So it has different offerings. You can have 12-month validity, you can have bank plus CGL 6-month validity, you can have bank plus CGL 12-month validity. So this is just a snapshot of different courses. So for example, if you see, there are 411 sectional tests in bank plus CGL 12-month validity, right? So we also have a bank plus CGL 6-month validity course. So this is a combo course, bank plus CGL. You can have 6 months or 12 months. Then also SSC CGL 12-month validity. Mock test, again, if you see for bank and SSC combo course, there would be bank mocks as well as SSC mocks. Same for 12 months. The bank mocks are increasing to 125 full length mock, and SSC mocks are double to 25 to 50. So current affair magazine is provided with 12 issues are provided ebooks. This current affair magazine is very well done, very well edited. It has all the relevant information. It has all the latest things that have happened. All that is absolutely covered well. You can join and subscribe our Telegram channel for more info. We also have a YouTube channel. You can also subscribe to that. That will also provide you a lot of updates as to what is happening, which exam notification, and there is a lot of information that floats in that Telegram channel. And bank, SSC, insurance related, all those exams are covered in that YouTube channel. This is the link for the YouTube channel. @bank time for bankexams.com. We also have Instagram handle and Facebook page. So link is given in the description box. So now we can take some questions. If you have any, definitely we can address those questions. You can put them in the chat box. I will try to take as much as possible. So you can feel free to ask any questions that you may have. You are starting your preparation, or how to go about the preparation, anything that you have with regards to any exam, SSC, banking, anything that you would want to know about these exams and how to go about these exams. Yeah, so I got some questions. I'll take them. When is the SSC CGL offline class starts? Hi, Abhin. SSC CGL offline class, you need to go to your nearest time center. Which city you are from, you can approach the nearest time center, and definitely they will guide you with the classroom course and offline course. I'll take one by one. Any negative marking, sir? Yes, I already mentioned about negative marking. First one in references for reasoning, sir. I would say for reasoning, you can refer to Kiran publication book. Also, time material is very good. It is very much updated. It has all the relevant questions. It has all the stuff that you need to do well in reasoning. Can you please show the marking scheme again? All right, I'll show the marking scheme again. Just give me a second. Marking scheme, I'm assuming, okay, just a second. Yeah, so I'm assuming you are referring to this, which is, just give me a second. Yeah, so this is for tier 1, and here you would see 25 questions in all the 4 sections, total of 100 questions, 60 minutes, 2 marks for each question. That is for tier 1. All right, and for tier 2, if we can go to tier 2, this is for tier 2. Tier 2, if you're not applying to statistical auditor post, you will only have paper 1 to write. Paper 1 would have maths and reasoning, 30 questions each in section 1, and section 2 will have English language and comprehension, 45 and 25 questions, 45 question English language and comprehension, and 25 question general awareness. Like I mentioned, the 3 marks for each question should be out of these 390 marks, not 370. I think I usually mentioned 370. 390 marks, your merit would be decided, and computer is only for qualifying. So this is the markings. I hope it is clear. When is the, okay, then you have, sir, can we get this information in PPT? In this, can we get this information in this PPT? You can get this PPT, just have to message us, or you can refer to our Telegram channel. Definitely they'll help you out with that. No sectional cutoff in tier 1, no sectional cutoff in tier 1. Tier 1 is only qualifying, total score is considered. Then you have, will the books provided by time enough? Yes, Kashyap, I would assume books provided time would be enough, specifically because it covers everything. See, any preparation you do from different book is not bad, but you should have a standard material that can guide you, which is the right way forward. Then to have more exposure to different questions, for more practice, you can refer to other books, but definitely books provided by time will help you in understanding which topics are important, what are the previous year questions that have appeared, because questions are modeled on the previous year. And it is updated every 6 months, 8 months. After every exam, it is updated. New questions are incorporated. Old questions which have not been appearing are discarded. So it is done that. So it will be sufficient. Then current affairs kitni month ki prepare karni hogi? Tushar, I would say current affair at least 4 to 5 months. So if you have an exam in, let's say, September, then you can start from April, May, June, July, August. At least 5 to 6 months. This is my hunch. At least 4 to 5 months is a safe bet. Don't go for 3 months thing. Go for at least 5 to 6 months. Can we qualify CGL with bank preparation? Lot of my students have, Gauri, have converted CGL with bank preparation, because what has happened is bank and CGL syllabus are overlapping in a big way now, because initially reasoning was not given importance in SSC CGL. Now it is appearing in mains. So current affairs is also coming in mains. So yes, definitely with bank preparation you can qualify CGL, but with a caveat, with a thing that you have to understand that CGL is a different paper in some senses, that it is little easier than bank in terms of, you know, tier 1, if I may say so. It has different set of questions. It has some topics which are not covered in bank. So you have to, suppose trigonometry doesn't come in bank, active passive doesn't come in banks, direct indirect doesn't come in bank. So you have to understand that there would be some areas which are not covered in bank preparation that you have to cover extra. Algebraic expression doesn't come in bank, but it comes in CG. So from that point of view, you need to be careful about what areas I need to. But I would say, I would go to the extent, Gauri, I would say around 80% syllabus is matching. The difficulty pattern may vary, the question presentation may vary, because in If you look at bank exams, tier 2, it is dominated by data interpretation. Here it will not be the case. Here it will be still arithmetic, trigonometry, plane geometry. So plane geometry doesn't appear too much in bank, but it appears in SSC CGL. So that you can take care of. Otherwise, paper is almost matching. Jittu Johnny is asking, will 2 months enough to cover entire syllabus? To be honest, see, if you prepare well, and then I would say 2 months, slightly more than 2 months, at least 3 months would be required, because considering if you have prepared your GS a bit well before, because GS is vast to cover, but 2 to 3 months should be good enough to cover once, and then you can always have revision. Which section to do first, that depends on your choice, that depends on which you are comfortable in. Always start with the section which you are comfortable in. I would always want you to start with section you are confident in. So if you're not confident in GA, but you know it takes only 10 minutes, but if you do GA and you understand, oh man, I'm not being able to do 15 questions out of 25, that will dampen your confidence. So start with section which you're confident in, and whatever you do in practice in mock, absolutely apply that. Whatever is working for you in mocks, you should definitely apply it. Sir, please tell about cutoff for tier 1 exam and tier 2 exam. So cutoff for tier 1 exam would go around 140, 145 at times, and tier 2 exam, that depends on the difficulty level of the paper. It varies from every year to every year, so that you can refer. What is common in CAT and CGL? I'm preparing for both of them, so guide. See, CAT and CGL basic remains the same in terms of, you know, grammar, vocabulary. In fact, vocabulary and grammar are not much as in CAT. Arithmetic is similar, but other than that, reasoning section, DILR section of CAT is totally different from CGL. Maths a bit, arithmetic can be common, geometry can be common, mensuration can be common, number system can be common, some topics can be common, but in CAT you will have modern maths, you know, focusing on a lot of questions on functions and graphs, spatial equations, inequalities, modulus. That will not be covered in CGL. So there is a lot of difference between CAT and CGL in that terms, especially LRDA section. English section is totally dominated by passages and long reading stuff in CAT, but in CGL you would not see such thing. So there is a difference. There is quite a lot difference. So you can base your preparation. Basics remains the same for both the exams. Okay, sir, please tell reference for quants and English. Okay, Tushar, for quants, you can refer to, I would say, time material first and foremost, and secondly, for quants, you can refer to any good book from Kiran publication. Kiran publication has very good books for SSC CGL. For English, like I mentioned, Student Companion, Wilfred Best is very good book. Then you can refer to SP Bakshi, that is also very good for grammar. Vocabulary, we provide the booklet that you can refer to. Previous year question papers you can refer to. Sir, can you please share the PPT for reference? Sure, it will be available on our YouTube channel, as well as it will be available on our Telegram channel. You can refer from there. So which one is useful, sir? For GA, what is the one in all book that would see? One book won't be enough. I would not say, Varun, that one book can be enough. See, if you have to do well in exam, you have to understand there can be no one source. You see, NCERT books would cover your history, would cover your geography, would cover your biology, physics, and chemistry, right? NCERT book in those subjects. So that can be one thing. Lucent GA is very good for current affairs and, you know, awards and achievement, all of those things. But one book, I don't think there can be one book, because GS is so vast. How will you put it in one? Negative marking details. Negative marking details, Krishna, I already told in tier 1, negative is 0.5. 2 marks for every question, and 1/4 of that is minus 0.5 for wrong. And in tier 2, for correct answer you get +3, and for wrong answer 1/3 of that is deductive, which means -1. So tier 1 you will have minus 0.5, and tier 2 you will have -1. Amisha is asking what can be the approximate cutoff. Not sure, it varies. Sometimes it is 135, sometimes it is 140 plus. So that depends on the question paper, that depends on number of aspirant, number of seats available, how the students have fair, and then there is some scaling goes up because of different slot that the paper takes place. What topic should I concentrate more to crack CGL? I'm weak at quants. I think you should focus more on arithmetic, that is easier to learn. I think you should focus more on uh, geometry, because those topics, see, if you would have gone through the slide that I've given on important topics, right? So important topics are profit and loss, numbers, plane geometry, mensuration, uh, time and distance, time and work. So these topics you should focus upon, because these are topics which definitely sees a mention in the exam. How frequently should we take mock after Jitu Johnny? If you have done your preparation well and you have covered the basics, I think you should give 1 hour mock. You can give almost every day or every alternate day. And see, it is not important to just give mocks. It is also important to analyze that mock, because analysis of mock will give you an idea about which topics you are doing well, where you need to work upon. And when you are not giving mocks, work on those topics. Oh, okay. You are a time aspirant. That is very good. Happy to know that. Sir, how much marks should we score to clear tier 1? Say again, I said it varies, but if you want to be sure that you want to clear tier 1, it should be more than 140, 150. Definitely. Sir, important topics of reasoning. I mentioned important topics of reasoning would be your series, analogies, blood relation, uh, 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 then this coding, decoding. All of these would be important topics. One book I cannot suggest for GK, Varun. Can you please show us where you told about negative mark? He is left already. Sir, CGL 7 SSC MTS का paper दे सकते हैं कि graduate? Yes, yes. You can write MTS. MTS is the easier paper, same like CHSL is also easy. Definitely you can write. Can you please share the summary page of reasoning? Sure, I can share the summary page. Give me a second. Summary page of reasoning. Okay, so this is the summary page as required by you. Uh, this is the summary page. So these are the important of symbol notation, coding, decoding, direction sense. All of these are important topics, right? Will the classes cover tier 1 syllabus cover? Yes, yes. Tier 1 syllabus would be definitely covered before the exam, because we have planned it in such a way you will be able to cover tier 1 syllabus. For GA, can you suggest a book that covers it? This we have already taken. So, okay. Sir, summary page of English also, sir. Yeah, Abin, most probably we are expecting vacancies to increase further, right? But again, because in every exam it happens that they declare vacancies and the vacancies get increased. So most probably we can expect the vacancies to increase. So summary page you were asking for English, I'll just give that. Okay, this is the summary page for English. I hope it is clear now. This is the summary page for English. So very important topics are synonym, antonyms, and one-word substitution, close passage, grammar, error identification, para-jumbled sentences, active passive. Again, these are important. All right. Any other question that we have? Ashwin, I hope it is clear, the summary page for English. And coming to your question, yes, I think can we get a syllabus of CGL? CGL syllabus, see, you can find it online as well. What we have given you is the important part, which topics are important, which topics to go for. Also, we will put this PPT in the Telegram channel. You can refer from there, or you can approach any time center for that. That's totally fine. And please ensure that you start preparing for CGL, because number of vacancies will definitely increase, and it will be a very good chance so that you can well in these exams and stand in a good position to clear the thing. Okay, thank you so much for your time, and I hope this session has been of some uses to you. I think we've got some more question. Ashwarya is fine. Sir, अगर evaluation कराया है और evaluation result बाद में आता है, 1 अगस्त के बाद आएगा तुषार, then I would be little tentative, because see your I don't know, मतलब this is a technical thing. Maybe you can call their helpline number to confirm about it. But if you have done a revaluation, so is your mark sheet final? As in, if it has been given to you, it has been provided to you, and you have a result on that date, then I think you can apply. to my knowledge you can apply, because even if you get a score change in revaluation, you still would have your degree cleared on that first, before first. No, only online result there. Oh, you got only online result. I will have to check this. This is a technical aspect. I would not be able to comment on that. That what happens in this technicality. The online result has been declared, and what happens in that. Generally, it says that 1st of August you should have your mark sheet or your degree with you that shows that you have completed the requirements of the course. That is the official line of SSC CGL or for any other exam when they provide you with education qualification, education criteria date. So that is the thing, Tushar, you need to just call them. Sir, how to keep the motivation up for CGL for GA? I am referring only recent GK, and for current affairs I am referring GK Today website. See, motivation level, just imagine India winning the World Cup yesterday. I'm sure, they also at time felt that it will not happen, right? Like it has not happened. But I would suggest you have to just keep going, keep following the discipline, keep understanding the processes, doing it well. So if you're referring to Lucent GK, that is a good book. That is a very good book. And see, my point is that to get your more understanding, if you can spend some more time, then go to the NCERT books of different subjects like history, geography, polity, civics, and also sciences book, physics, chemistry, and biology. So that will help. But if you're referring GK Today website, if you're referring current affairs, that should be good. But this is only just for GA. So GA ko thoda sa you have to expect. So because it is not limited to tier 1 now, no? It is also limited to tier 2. And in tier 2, you're getting 25 questions, 75 marks, 75 marks in tier 2. And you happen to score around 50, 55 out of those, then you would be in a good shape. So GA needs to be prepared well. Sir, CAT versus CGL, which is better? Both have their own pros and cons. CAT gives you an opportunity to work in the corporate world. CAT gives you the opportunity to study in institute which are highly reputed like IIMs. CGL gives you an opportunity to be a government servant, good post, generally no recession in the industry, your job is secured, you don't have to worry about anything. So both are good. That depends on your temperament, that depends on your motivation, that depends on preparation wise. Both will require hard work. There is no easy shortcuts in life. Both will. CGL has a lot of CAT around 3 lakh students, right? CGL around 10 to 15 lakhs, right? So to your question, I would say that depends on. But Tushar says, but for this tier 1 only 3 months are left. Referring to NCERT in 3 months is difficult. See, I understand. You can refer to, see, you can do a cursory reading, right? The point is, if you read Lucent without any context to it, right, how much can you remember? That is also a point. So what I'm saying is, go through an NCERT book. You have read those books before. It's not that you have not passed your 6 to 10. You have passed your 6 to 10. Go through their books. At least make a 1 or 2 reading of those books. That will help you to get some context. Surely you can follow Lucent GK. Surely you can follow previous year questions. And you should not think it from just 3 months are left. So you are in a long haul. You should understand that this preparation will help in further exams as well. So yeah, 3 months is a difficult time in terms of number of days that we have, but still I would prefer that you can look at those books. All right, thank you so much for your time. All the very best and have a good night.